Hello and welcome to WoodPods, the podcast designed to share sporting experience and knowledge to instill passion within the NLCS Dubai community on behalf of Team NLCS. Today I'm pleased to be joined by Mark Johnson, an elite runner from the UK. Mark has competed in a variety of track, cross-country and road events, running 5 and 10k races since his teenage years. He has competed in major and national championships every year since the age of 21. At the age of 18, Mark started his running career by joining athletics club Sutton Harriers in Nottinghamshire before moving to Mansfield Harriers. In the last few years, he has run for Leicester Corinthians, an elite masters club in the Midlands. Over the last 32 years, Mark has been a committed and successful athlete. In 2013, Mark won the British 5k Championships with a time of 15 minutes and 16 seconds. In 2014, Mark went on to run the fastest 10k time in the country with a time of 31 minutes and 38 seconds. On his debut in 2014, Mark secured a silver medal for England, completing 8k in a time of 25 minutes and 24 seconds. Mark has now achieved 19 national medals, including 5 international medals, and it is fair to say he can be an inspiration to us all. Well, hello, Mark. Thanks very much for joining WoodPods today.
Hello, Nikki. Good morning. Thank you for the invite.
Absolute pleasure. We're going to kick off with some questions about your sporting career and your passion and your experiences. So first up, where did your passion come from to be involved in sport?
My passion getting involved in sport came from my father, who is a keen sportsman, an ex-judo player. He was involved at a very young age. I have 2 brothers. My father, he used to take us down to the local swimming pool, onto the football pitches. And so playing sport was a massive part in our lives and still is to this very day.
Fantastic, thank you. And when you were growing up, did you have a particular role model that you followed, and why was that, and how did they inspire you?
As a child, I used to watch Sebastian Coe, Steve Cram, Steve Ovett, Peter Elliott, all middle distance runners. They was a very good role model for me. But my main role model was my brother. My brother was introduced into judo at a very young age by my father. It became very apparent that it was going to be something special in judo. Jamie ended up leaving school at a very young age. He went to live in the School of Excellence in Kendal in the Lake District, where he lived with the Great Britain team. And Jamie went on to be an Olympian, and he's now the Great Britain elite judo coach. So as a role model, Jamie really stole the show for me.
Superb. What a fantastic role model to have so close to home. Could you describe your pathway that your athletics took from high school to the current day?
Yeah, my athletics pathway, ultimately, I was into football. Football was my love at the time. So I played football for many years at a decent level, but it got to the time where I felt like running was sort of like taking over. So I decided to join a running club. I joined Mansfield Harriers, which was a local club and a great club. I met a lovely guy called Lee Garrett. We used to train together. And now I train with Lee again. We've sort of like come together in Dubai. So 20 years later, down the road, Lee's still got his love for running. I still have my passion for running. You know, that was basically the pathway that I take.
Okay, so you've now been involved with athletics for over 32 years, which is a very, very long time. In fact, it's probably twice the length of time of the age of the people that are actually listening. So you must have had your fair share of tough times. I think our listeners will be really interested to hear about those tough times and what you've encountered along the way and how you've dealt with the peaks and troughs of what life has thrown at you as a runner.
Yes, the tough times for me have been injuries and the frustration of being injured. I love the sport, can't get away from that. But I think with running, you just need to know sort of like your body management is imperative, really. Knowing when to back off and when to peak for major competitions. So I think you need to sort of like learn and adapt, sort of like strengthening and conditioning, and having sort of like massages. So basically, the tough times for me was just dealing with injury. I've always been motivated, so I've never had any issues through there. So basically, tough times is just the injury times for me.
Okay, and in your experience, what are the essential attributes for a successful runner?
Well, I would say to keep motivated, keep focused, to be consistent. You need to be setting targets and chasing goals. You need to be creating like a stimulus for fulfillment. Your love for your sport, passion, drive, competition, and the love of the success.
And how have you managed to maintain your passion and drive over the last 32 years?
I think basically it's just the love for the sport that I've just picked up on. I love success, so that is it's a key drive for me. I've never had problems of sort of like getting myself out the door. Motivation has never been an issue. So and I think just the love for sport, it's just a massive motivator for me.
That's great. And how do the expectations of yourself differ from perhaps when you were younger and running faster times to now when you're running for the masters scene and perhaps not being able to get those PBs anymore? How do you goal set for yourself to keep that motivation?
Basically, as you become a Masters International, the competition is still a very high standard. It's very difficult to win medals when you're competing against guys who are 20 years younger than yourself. But you do have sort of like subcategories where I could go into a race and come 10th, but I could actually win my own category. So that is a focus, and that keeps you sort of like on your toes, because you know you haven't got to be winning the actual race to still be achieving. As you get older, you know you are going to, it's inevitable, you're going to get slower, but you can look at it from sort of like an age graded method. Basically, as you get older, you do get slower, but from an age graded point of view, you are still effectively running at the same level, because that takes into account your time over your age.
Fantastic, thank you. I'm sure a lot of people find that very motivational. Now, you've recently moved to Dubai with your wife. How do you find the running community, and how easy was it to access the available training and race opportunities in Dubai?
First and foremost, coming to Dubai, my main concern was dealing with the heat management, basically. I knew as I was coming over to Dubai, I had a training partner. I had Mr. Lee Garrett. He was there ready for me, tying his laces, ready for me to come over. He was looking forward to be sharing our training and running competitively again. So yeah, I had a very good vision of what I was going into when I got to Dubai. And when I did get into Dubai, the opportunities over here are incredible. There's always different races going on every week. So from a sports perspective, Dubai's got everything. So I've been in many races over here. The races are very well organised, and it's very inspirational. They're really, really good. They know how to do it over here. They really do.
Fantastic, thank you. And most of our listeners will be stuck inside right now. So what sort of workouts should they or could they be doing to help maintain or build their athletic form?
Right. Well, I think when you're indoors, it doesn't mean you've got to stop, because there's plenty of opportunities to be keeping active. You can actually go onto the telly, go to YouTube. You can watch the famous Olympian Jess Ennis. She has workouts that you can go onto on a daily basis. She's showing you different sports. There's strength and conditioning. There's all sorts of different types of things that you can do online. You can use your garden. You can get out in the garden, laps around the garden. In fact, me and Mr. Garrett living in a tower block, and we're currently isolated. So basically we can't go outside. but we've been managing to do 10K every day in the basement of our car park. So nobody's got any excuses. So basically, I would say go onto YouTube and look out for these workouts. You can do your own press ups, sit ups. There's things around the house you can use, so you don't need to stop just because you're indoors.
Great stuff. So no excuses for those people that are locked up at the moment. Well, having listened to you today, I'm sure that many of our listeners will be inspired to get out there as soon as they can and try themselves out, as we say at NLCS. So what is the best way to get involved in running, and where does one start if running has not been part of your life already?
Well, I think first and foremost, the fit clubs in schools, like the North London Collegiate School. Yeah, join the fit clubs. There's plenty of opportunities. There's park runs around. So there's lots of opportunities out there. There is. And Dubai is a great place to start a sporting career.
Okay, and moving on to our final two questions. What is it that you love about running, and how has it managed to be such a large part of your life?
The thing I love about running is the competition. I love the competition. I love the success. I spoke earlier. It gives you it produces hormones, happy hormones. So I always feel like an happy person. On top of having the success and having podium wins, that's what drives me in running.
Fantastic. And finally, your last question: if you could pick your best memory from your running career so far, what would this be and why?
I have two that are on a par. And those two are, the first one being the first time I ever won a British Championship. And the second one is the first time that I got selected to run for my country. So getting that England vest and wearing the England vest on your chest, that has to be basically my best achievement and the one that means so much to me.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Mark. I know the NLCS community has been fortunate enough to have you support at our cross-country events, and we're lucky to have such an avid and experienced runner in the NLCS community. After all, someone's got to keep Mr. Garrett on his toes. We look forward to seeing you back on the trails and paths very soon. Thanks, Mark. Take care.
Excellent. Okay, Nikki, thank you very much.
That concludes today's podcast. Next week on Wednesday WoodPods, we hear from the current wheelchair fencing world champion, Dimitri Kucher. He shares his experience of being selected to represent the GB Paralympian team at the Rio Games as a teenager, and how he juggled his academic sixth form studies with preparing for the Paralympic Games. Thanks for listening.